Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all our viewers who have joined us today. We are going to have a very enriching session on mental health and well being. Today, we have with us Sri Akhileshwar Mishra, Headmaster DM School, Bhubaneswar, and Mr. Sibir Prasad Patel,
नमस्कार.
PGT Guidance and Counseling, DM School, Bhubaneswar.
Good afternoon.
Mental health. What is mental health? It's a state of well being where the individual realizes his or her own abilities. They can cope up with the normal stresses of our life. They can work productively and truthfully and is able to make a contribution to the society. It is very disheartening to know that 1 out of 6 students are suffering from depression, anxiety. They are not mentally fit. In day to day life, they find themselves in situations where they fail to recognize themselves and they fall prey to anxiety and depression. So today, I will ask our headmaster, sir, please tell us something about mental health and well-being.
Well, Garima, thank you. In fact, the World Mental Health Week that we are observing from today, in fact, that remains many a times in oblivion. People do not appreciate the importance of well being also mentally. And someone is not well unless that particular individual is well on all other parameters. Somebody is being emotionally well, somebody being socially well, physically well, and of course mentally well. And to address this very unaddressed well being of the people, we need to understand the concept of mental well being. In fact, as it is said, around 16-17% of the people, in fact the children, those who are under tremendous stress, we need to address, because this stress will finally lead to ill being, not well being. And this ill being will not be like physical ill being or physical illness. It will have its impact in the society in a multifarious way. It will disturb the emotional balance, that will lead to disturbance of the social balance, that will lead to the disturbance of all kind of equilibrium that are already set, and we can easily forget about the concept of happiness, because it's very well said, the door to happiness doesn't open outside, it opens inward. Normally the doors open outside, but for happiness the door has to open inwards. For inward looking people, the happiness will be easier to find rather than the people who are looking outwardly and running about having materials, having money, having the things, having the name, having popularity. In fact, all this has only an outward impact. A man can remain happy only when the person is from inside quite well in terms of the health of in terms of mental health. And therefore we need to address this. I'll give you some examples to understand what is the mental well-being. Usually we find not only the children, the elders also, we find that they do not have any issues with physical parameters, biological parameters, nor are they having scarcity of the resources to live a decent life, at least a modest life. nor do they have that kind of low self-esteem in workplace, but still we find they are easily irritable. We find they are more reactive and rather than being reflective. They are more reactive rather than being responsive. We need to finally have the aim of creating the people who can take the statements from the people coming to them without having any prejudice, without having any background about that particular statement. This can only happen when the people are at internal peace. Because you see, the behavior that we exhibit in our families, in our workplace, in the society, and in the whole life, the behavior is only manifestation of how we are inwardly. How well we are dealing with the stress or cope, whatever is there. I would not really call that stress or kind of tension. No, they are not. They are basically simply life. We somehow tend to term them as the stress, turn to term them as tension, or moments of happiness, or moments of laughter. Basically, the things are as such. It's all the way we react to it. In fact, we respond to it. So, having a proper pause inside, having a proper uh, equilibrium inside, will be, will be really reflecting about the mental health. And for that, since we are talking in context of the children, in context of the students, school going students in particular, and of course that can further be integrated in the lifelong practices, we need to ensure that they are physically well, because total well-being will only be obtained when they are physically well also. We need to see that they are properly having proper nutrition, because we say a good mind keeps a good mind, dwells in the good body. Therefore, physical well-being is also important. Then there's social well-being. We need, as educators, as teachers, as parents, we need to understand that the children are to be taken with their behavior at that time, rather than having some kind of prejudice, some kind of branding about them, like calling somebody short tempered, calling somebody pleasant, unpleasant, or rogue, whatever. I think that's not fair. It will only be kind of either over magnifying their self esteem, or it will be underestimating their self esteem. And then we need to love them. Why do we say we need to love them? Because that takes care of their emotional health, takes care of their emotional nutrition. Teachers, parents can provide enough of emotional nutrition, nourishment, if children are dealt with lots of love. Then they themselves start reciprocating, and that becomes their habit. That goes into their attitude. That makes their character. That's how we see the people with absolutely having nothing, or in sometimes in abject poverty. Those people still have a smiling face. Does it have anything to do with the materialistic world? Nothing. It's all state of mind. And then state of mind can be generated with the proper grooming, proper treatment of the children right from the beginning, providing them very strong values. If we are going to give them strong values, it will also be deciding about the social health of the child and the society also. Because a bad society will always be misfit for any good human being to live in. And the society can only be made good if it sticks to certain well established, wonderful value system. So, mental well being is all about having a very good balance inside, having very positive approach towards the life, not taking the challenges as the problems, rather than having an approach of converting the challenges into opportunities. What can be a better example of converting challenges into opportunities? If we see advancement in terms of technology, we have problem of energy. Our scientists, innovators, inventors, they have looked for alternate source of energies. Is it not? When the pandemic hit the education system, the human being used this challenge as opportunity, and today, be it the students, very young students, the young teachers, and also, so to say, old teachers, all alike have adopted this particular technology. I'll not say this was a challenge. This came out to be an opportunity. It would have taken them, I think, years of their effort had it been left to the choice. But you see, pandemic put the picture very clear, target was fixed, and everybody came up to the occasion so well. This proves, irrespective of where we are, irrespective of what age we are, if we have attitude, we can do it. That's what we have to remember all through in life. It should not be like working on the principle of a rocket. It has got capacity to fly and escape, but only when its tail is on fire. No, we need to have an approach which is positive. We need to have an approach of being neutral to whatever is happening towards us, and talking spiritually. If we say calling the people Sit Pragya, the way Yogi Raj Krishna was there. So mental well-being is all about uh, making the people who are having no angularities the way they think, they are having a balanced personalities, neither they are emotionally dead or insensitive, nor they are emotionally so uh, volatile that from becoming sentimental they start appearing like mental. That's the difference. So I think this gives an idea of what the mental well-being is all about. Over to Garima.
Yes, sir. Very rightly said, sir. However, whatever situation life throws at us, it is up to us that whether we want to convert it into opportunity or we are going to succumb to its disadvantages. Now, my next question would be to Siba Prasad, sir. Sir, we know that we are celebrating Mental Health Day on 10th of October. So, could you please tell to our viewers what is the history behind this day? Why do we celebrate this day? How we started to celebrate this day? Shiva Prasad, sir.
Thank you so much for this question. Um, we know that history is very much important for us because it's provide us a way to learn from our mistake. And whenever we did some kind of mistake, we try to learn from that. Just like our current generation is suffering from different kind of issues, that's because of our own mistakes. As we follow the history of this particular day, the celebration that we are celebrating, uh, we need to focus on the cultural aspect. Just like uh, we have a bright culture, just like Indian culture having ancient Indian culture having a certain values, certain beliefs that interact the soul, mind, and body. And whenever we are talking about our culture, we must have to proud that our culture has that power to bring the mind and body get together, just like it is a singular part of a whole universe. Okay, so at such state we need to focus on those things, just like different incident, just like World War I, World War II. So after World War I, uncertainty in the that negative era is arise, and we seems to feel that the mental well-being is a concern. The mental well-being became an issue for us. Most of the soldiers, most of the families are suffering from different kind of illness. At that time, the awareness is very less, but after World War II, there are sudden, revolutions that going on. Still, it's going on. We can't say it's solved. That's why our title of the discussion is mental health and mental well-being as a continuous process. It's not a destination. Mm. So, as we know, in the year of 1992, for the first time, the World Mental Health Day was celebrated, and after 1992, it is still focusing on the mental well-being of students, mental well-being of teachers, mental well-being of parents, everyone, in a particular setting. That may be educational setting, that may be a work field. So at such state, we need to focus on the aim. The aim of this particular day is spreading education, spreading awareness regarding mental well-being and mental illness. Whereas some of those mental illness may not be treated, but the awareness make let me make it a little bit easier to adjust in current situations. And right now we are in a new normal, the normalcy of COVID-19, where students are not able to attend school physically. So we need to celebrate it in a virtual mode. As we know that this virtual mode may not be that much effective, but we need to accept the best alternative. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Before moving on to the next question, I would request our viewers who has joined us virtually, if they have any queries to ask to our experts, they can drop in their questions in the comment section. We can take up some questions and we can transfer the same questions to experts and you will get your answers. So, viewers, please drop in your comments. Now, next, sir, Headmaster Sir, I would like to ask that we all know that this pandemic has hit us really badly in different levels. We were restricted from meeting our friends, family. We were at least 6 feet away from them. We have been through the feeling of isolation and loneliness more than ever. So, do you think, sir, this pandemic has taken a toll on our mental health? And if yes, how do you think we can deal with it or overcome it?
Well, using the term as it has taken a toll on us will be little too harsh, because again this takes the question takes me back to the basic concept of what can disturb our mental well-being. In fact, having a distance of 6 feet or 9 feet, whatever, a distance of kilometers. I'll give you an example. When several brothers in a family, blood relations, they stay apart at a distance of 1,000 kilometers from one another, does it really bring down the warmth in their relation? No, it doesn't. Similarly, when the children are away from parents, hundreds and thousands of kilometers, does the love of the parents or the love of the children for the parents, does it decrease? It doesn't. So, meeting the people or not meeting the people, it doesn't affect truly. But yes, we have several levels of relationship in the society. We have a smile to smile relationship. A good smile helps the man who smiles. It affects so many nerves positively, so many muscles of the face positively. It's medically proved. And then if somebody smiles, the one who is seeing the smile again smiles, it has got a positive uh, contagious effect on it. Yes, we had been missing that at that superficial level. Yes, because everybody cannot be assumed to be having that level of understanding that where from the happiness or where from the liveliness that comes. So at that level, yes. Even today, since we are at distance, otherwise today also we miss the smile. We somehow try to, you know, we try to read the smiles above the level of the mask that has been covering the face. So we are even today with this mask on. This mask has also been a very ugly cover to wonderful smiles that we have for one another. Remaining, going little deeper into it, if we see that physical interaction, I mean, very close interaction in terms of physical nearness, that has affected children in particular. It has affected tremendously because once they play, being playful is natural and childish. Remaining childish is another name of remaining lively. And children are deprived from becoming lively because they are not permitted to play. Where will they play? They cannot mix up physically with the people. Of course, it is required in order to keep them safe on one side, but on the other side, it is that is having a great adverse effect, and it's in that sense it is taking a great toll on society because these children who should be mentally very well, they should be emotionally so vibrant, physically so agile, they must be socially so active. Those things are affected. As a result, whatever is happening in terms of academic loss, yes, we'll try to cope up with. To a great extent, we can cope up. Lifelong learning goes on, so this small patch will go with little less learning. Doesn't make much difference. But yes, in terms of having mental well-being, this is certainly going to have an impact. I'll give you some examples from the daily life. I mean, from the life of the people around us. We have seen the people having similar kind of background in the childhood, almost comparably similar background of their parents in terms of social status, in terms of financial status, economical status, and educational status as well. Having similar kind of schooling, similar kind of college, or similar colleges being taught by similar people. Still, there is a difference. And the difference is whatever small, exceedingly well good experiences in their life or exceedingly bad experiences of their life, that finds a small dot in the life and in the mind of the child, and with the time it grows. Small point it bloats. The blotting takes place, and then we see the people being quite irrational. Some of them being so irrational because probably their being rational was somewhere deeply hurt. Some people we find they are not that sensible because their being sensible was ignored and neglected. So right now what we are facing is little. It's similar to, I take an example of my life. Way back in 1984, there was a big tragedy in the Bhopal. We call it Bhopal gas tragedy, when MIC was leaked out. And then anyway, we all suffered through that. We have seen the infernos of MIC in terms of its impact. We have seen the generations being born in a state of handicap. Some of them being physically handicapped, some of them being intellectually handicapped. That time no one could think that these many things will be there, and today we find that there are thousands such children who were born after that. They are severely affected, and the families have been completely devastated. If a child coming from that kind of devastated families members being as a parent, now you compare, in the entire life the child will have a tone of negativity towards the life, towards the society. I call those kind of people mentally unwell. Let's try to understand. Mental unwellness is what? It's not about being mad. Somebody having cold and cough, going to workplace, carry on the life now as normal, because this is not an illness, but it is certainly a sign of being unwell. For the time being, temporarily, to very, very less extent, but again, it is not a state of wellness. Same way, mental unwellness does not mean being lunatic, going insane, a madman. No. And at this particular particular point of time, I would like to mention all the students, all the parents, in fact, my friends, and all the viewers. I would like to have you with complete clarity that going and asking for some kind of counseling from anyone is not a sign of weakness. Don't we go to doctors when we have headache? Don't we go to the doctors when we have got stomachache? Don't we visit doctors when we have got body pain or having a slight temperature or kind of sprain? These are not great illness, but don't we go? We do go. Are we called as the disease people? No, we are not. Are we called as the ill people? No, we can run our life with that also. Then why is it so that somebody is under slight symptoms of stress, hesitates to go to the source to address how to deal with it? Somebody having emotional turbulence is able to talk to very close friends but not ready to go to the people who can solve it. It's not certainly a disease, it's not a mental disease, it's not an emotional angularity, it's not. It only requires some kind of mental nutrition, some kind of emotional feeding, some kind of right guidance. So emotional stress, mental stress, all these things can be addressed. Barring a few problems, I'm using the word problems, which can be termed as not that curable diseases, the way we have in our bodies also. Rest of the things, most of the problems that we think is a mental disease is not a mental disease. It needs to be addressed, it needs to be discussed, it needs to be threadbare analyzed, and the right kind of experts need to give advice and we need to follow. If that happens, mental well-being will be restored very soon. Otherwise, why I'm addressing this particular issue, because there is some kind of taboo on talking about if somebody is finding I am physically absolutely fit, there is absolutely no problem, but I have got sleep disorder. Physically no problem, but sleep disorder. There is something inside which does not require an X-ray, which requires a penetration of the eyes of a good counselor. Sometimes the counselor can be parents, sometimes it can be kids and kids who are elders, sometimes teachers, sometimes the trained professional counselor. So we need to understand that counseling is not about somebody who has gone become psychiatric patient and then only goes. Nothing like that. It's a simple taking advice, and we must feel free to go to them. Then coming about other aspect of this pandemic. You see, this is a pandemic. We have. It's a good thing that major part of population has responded to the advices given, how to deal with standard operating procedures, COVID guidelines. It's good we have been very disciplined citizens, and that's why we are not in that much trouble. There had been troubles, but we are not in that much trouble as much we could have been into looking at the density of population of the state or country in which we are staying. Good thing with us is, uh, you know, we as a society across north to south and east to west in India, we are so well established in terms of our values. We have naturally coming inward looking mechanism set in society in terms of traditions. That's how we found that majority of the people, they started practicing some of their hobbies which till now they were not able to do. The homemakers, they have turned out to be great practitioners of their those activities which they were not able to do because they got a lot of time. Even the people, working professionals, they found some time to spare and do the things which they thought they ought to be doing, but they could never attempt to it. So I take it this pandemic from that angle. And yes, everything that happens will have an impact. It's always said there is always an action, and for that there is a reaction. For every, it's all a rule of cause and effect. When there has been a cause, there is bound to be effect. Now it depends upon this cause how much we have translated into whether it has been a positive effect, it has been negative effect. But yes, we all the teachers, our elders, our parents, our counselors, everybody need to take care of the students and make sure that whatever little negative impact the children might be having on them due to this COVID, it's kind of closure of society, we should try to mitigate, we should try to reduce its impact, and then life is always going to be back with a bang, right? Yes,
Yes,
Garima, to you.
Karima, to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. So, very rightly said, sir, like many a times we are afraid to seek for help. We fear the judgment that the society is going to pass. So, asking for help, I think, is the first sign of being healthy. You are not afraid of what people are going to talk. So I know that the students, most when they're coming to school, they are most connected to the teachers. They have classmates, they have friends. They're also sometimes they're talking to their parents. So if the child who is suffering from some kind of tension, if there's something which is disturbing them, if it is in identified and they are just solved at the first step, I think uh, it will just make it nullified. They will not be suffering any. It will not multiply. It will not take a huge form. So I would like to ask Ibe Prasad sir. So what is the role of the teachers? What is the role of the school? How can we address the child who is having some kind of problems or they consider that they're in some kind of anxiety? How we can take some steps from our end and make sure that they are happy and healthy? So could you please elaborate on the role of the school and society and the teachers?
Sure. Uh, I just want to say that not only school or teachers here, the important role of the parents is also concerned. And uh, during this pandemic, where the students are not directly interacted with the teachers, it became very difficult for the teachers as well as usual. They try to communicate with the students, and it is very easy to identify that what kind of need is necessary, what kind of assessment is there, or how they can be treated. But during this online system, the qualitative observation, or the quality observation may not be maintained. So we can say that quality brings with the quantity. So uh, all teachers must have to focus on the students, maybe that one by one or face to face talk through our technology, or we can call the students and try to interact with them, maybe once in a week or twice in a week. That may be a way to enhance the way to communicate and find out what are the essential needs regarding someone's mental imbalance. So uh, that can be a technique that we can use to identify mental instability in between students. That may be a part of the regular teaching learning activities. But in concerns of parents, all the just say that parents, teacher, students, and other school staff can be stakeholders to enhance the mental well-being. First of all, students must need to be open up. They must have to feel free to express their self. Just like asking for help is not a weakness, it's a strength. And when they realize that that is the strength, they may openly share their issues, share their problem with the teachers, with the counselors. So at such case, the most probably what I'm going to discuss is during this pandemic, where they are not able to communicate with the teachers directly. Their parents must have to concern about the mental well-being of a student, mental well-being of their child. Although we all face our childhood, we all know that what kind of thoughts, what kind of emotions arise during study. So we must have to focus, we must have to think like a child, we must have to think like a student first, not as a teacher, not as a parents. At that case, we may able to understand the real life situations or real life experience. So we must have to develop that empathy. We must have to understand what kind of issues maybe he or she is suffering. So certain techniques that we can use in case of student where he or she may not be open enough to his or her issues. So that can be a technique that we use. Although school staff or school administrations, where they need to restructure the syllabus as per the need, they need to introduce certain activities, they need to maybe reschedule of their routine, just like we did last 4 5 weeks. We try to reschedule our routine. We introduce certain activities just like dance, art, music early in the morning. That may help the student to get back to the we can say biological clock habits. So we all know that we are right now, we don't have certain fixed biological habits. All biological imbalances are still here. So not only children, we parents, teachers, everyone suffering from that kind of issues. So at such cases, first of all, we need to create such a situation. Okay, just we have an example where we have a plan for picnic. That particular night was a kind of jagrata for every student, that we are going to have a picnic next morning. So at that case, they are not able to sleep properly. So we need to introduce such kind of activities that may create interest, that may create enthusiasm in between the students, that they may try to involve in the process. So I just want to say that over all this thing is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And in the beginning it was sound so smooth, it was sound so easy, but at the end it seems like gimmicky, it seems like cheeky. So we need to introduce short activities in between that may create in a new we can say that a new enthusiasm, a new interest to get back to the routine. Here the school staff must have to focus, the parents must have to focus, the teachers must have to focus. As usual, it is not a date, it's not usual the normal days that we are doing our activities. It is the way that the students try to cope with the situation in between this pandemic. So all the stakeholders and the students must have to communicate, must have to get together and try to express, try to open up what kind of feelings they have, what kind of emotions they have. Not That may not be a teacher, that may not be a counselor. We can share our emotion, we can share our feelings with our friends, with our parents, or someone else who is very near to us. But sharing is the only thing that may reduce the pain. So time and sharing both can reduce the pain. So we must have to focus these strategies to enhance a mental well-being. Thank you, madam. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much, sir. Really insightful. So, as teachers, parents, as friends, we should understand, we should gain the confidence of child, whosoever. As parents, we need to understand, should make sure that our children understand that we are always ears for them. We are listening to what they're saying. As teachers, it's very easy. If a child is behaving a little bit different from how he used to behave previously, for us it is easy to identify because we are very close to them. If they are disturbed, it disturbs us. So we should always show them that yes, you be confident, we are listening to you, you can trust us. And we have to make sure that we are keeping their whatever they're sharing, it's confidential to us. And whatever baby steps we can take to help them overcome the situation they are into, it will really help us grow as schools, as students, and slowly and gradually we can come out of it. So thank you very much, sir. It was a really wonderful session. And as per the questions, we have not received any such questions till now from the audience. I once again request all the audiences, if there's anything you would like to ask from our experts, we are waiting for your questions. And so, meanwhile, if there's anything you would like to share, I don't have any other questions. If there's anything you would like to share to our audience, one line, and then we can have a concluding session now. In general.
Okay. I think I'll.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we have, in fact, plenty of activities following this session in the days to follow till 10th of October, in which we have planned to have some session for the students where they'll be having their own sharing session. They'll be sharing, others will be listening to how they had been in the pandemic. And then we'll also be having a session on addressing the stigma, I should use the word stigma, that's associated with the kind of small things pertaining to the mental health. So that we'll be trying to address through one day, through a panel discussion, where we'll be having one gentleman from outside also coming and joining us, having his life spent into this and psychology. And we'll also be having some activities for the parents to write letters to their dear ones, the children, which they must be thinking they have never written. And we'll be also having one activity for them. They'll be writing the letters, and the best 3 letters will be shared with everybody, all the stakeholders. And like this, we have got plenty of activities. We are going to have a happiness zone in the school where we have selfie session where the teachers and the students, they will have selfies. So we want to make the people jovial, we want to make the people happy, we want to have the happiness prevailing everywhere, because it is only the happiness that's the ultimate aim of the life. Because every day we are losing a day. So why to lose a day living in under the shadow of past or in the anticipation of future? Let us live the very moment. If we live the very moment, we remain happy. We are never sure how is future going to be. I have seen people, in fact, many of us, or say most of us, are always having a fear of unknown when it comes to be attached with the future. See, we have the liberty to think and anticipate. Why should we be anticipating negative things? Why should we be anticipating negative things? When we have the liberty to dream, when we have the liberty to anticipate, let's anticipate only the best things. And let me tell you, it's natural law. The things that happen to us are basically culminated out of the thoughts that we create around us. All the dreams, great dreamers who make their dreams come true are of course great doers, but more than that, they are all very great, positive, intense dreamers. They never let their dreams die. They never let the dreams be less intense. The more intense be the dream, and it will certainly reach to the fruition. There are examples. In fact, there are umpteen number of examples, infinite number of examples around us in the present times and in the times beyond. The things have happened because those were dreamers. So we need to have been dreaming all the good things, create an aura of positivity. Again, let me tell you, aura of positivity is not something that you get. Basically, all those positive vibes are generated and they emanate from our thinking. That's why I say the entire universe responds to how we think. The people who get most of negative things happening in their life are the people who invite most of the negative thoughts. The people who get most of the positive things in their life are the people who invite positive thoughts. Of course, there are things that happen which we do not know why they are happening. For that, I will not fall into that. That takes a different dimension of the knowledge. So, at this time, that does not suit. But yes, let's be all positive. We should be always bubbling with positivity. Nothing less than that. Just bubbling with positivity, having extreme sense of being optimist, not giving up. Remember, the things can never disturb us. It is not the things, again, I take back to my initial sentences. It is not the events or the things that makes us happy or sad. It is the way we react to them. So we need to react to them, and to react to them is under our control. We are the great managers of how we will be despite whatever happening to us. I think with these words from my side, I call it conclusion. If Mr. Shiv Prasad has to say anything.
Yeah, I just like to say that most of the students say that, sir, we are not able to control our feelings. Just want to say that we are the master of our own emotions. So nobody will going to teach you how to control your own feeling or your own emotions. You are the one who will going to control it by your own self. And how can you do that? Just try to just try to explore what's your strength, what's your weakness. Try to enhance the strength, try to control the weakness. It will definitely going to help you. And I really want to say that all students must have to be open up, try to express their emotions, try to collaborate with their friends, because getting together is the most powerful thing to face a lot of problems. So yeah, um, right now we are going to introduce certain activities, or we may introduce certain events, just like let me know you better is going to introduce maybe a day after tomorrow. So student may participate in that one. It can be a interesting activity for them, and it may open the gate, open the door to understand them better. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. We had a wonderful session. I'm very sure that our viewers have been enlightened. Now they know that what is mental health and how they can, what they can do to solve it, solve the problems that they're facing in their day-to-day life. So we haven't received any question. So I think I'm really thankful to our master sir for giving us so valuable advices from his life experiences. I'm extremely thankful to Siva Prasad sir. You have been given really good tips on how we can deal with this issue. And thank you. I would like to conclude this session now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, viewers, for joining us. We'll be looking forward for our
Thank
next
you.
session.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you.